In the beginning, I did feel very uncomfortable. Why is there pho in a Thai restaurant? 4 months ago, I read a post on Instagram that said that I'm constantly worrying about the next phase of my life without realizing that I'm right in the middle of what I used to look forward to. I could relate to that so much. Moving to Europe and working here has been my dream, and I'm finally here. I don't want to follow my old patterns and think about what my next goal should be or where I should go next. Instead, I want to stop and reflect on my current life here, and that's exactly what this I Moved to Berlin series is going to be about. I'm going to talk about my life in Berlin here, the things I like about the city, the things I don't like, what I'm learning, and my growth as an individual. Basically, every few months, I'm going to force myself to sit down and reflect on my life. So this part 2 video is going to be about my journey here after 1 month of being in Berlin. How am I going to structure this? Before moving here, I actually wrote a few questions that my future self, which is my now self, should answer. And these were questions that I would have been curious to know about if I was able to move here. And since I did end up moving here, I'm going to answer those exact questions that my past self had asked me. Everything is going to be timestamped, so feel free to jump to the section that interests you. So the first question is not something that my past self had asked me. It's something that I should probably address first before going into most of the questions. And it's, why did I move to Berlin? I moved here for work. I basically applied to a company here. I interviewed when I was in Singapore and I got the role. So I left my role in Singapore and I joined the company here instead. So the second question is, how is Germany different from Singapore? There are so many differences, and there are some specific differences, like some things that you might consider small, but I've noticed them and they actually affect me on my day-to-day life. So the first difference is that the traffic light here doesn't have a blinking man or like a countdown. So what I mean by that is, if you're a pedestrian and you're crossing the road back in Singapore, so if the light is green, there will be a countdown there to let the pedestrian know when it's going to turn red, so that you can anticipate if you should cross the road or if you should wait for the next light. But over here, it's either red or green, and there's no way for a pedestrian to know whether it's gonna turn like red in the next 1 second or in the next 10 seconds, because it's like a gamble to stand there and like decide if you should cross the road or not without knowing when it's gonna turn red. The second difference is that a lot of payments here are actually still in cash. Back in Singapore, I could actually travel everywhere I wanted to without bringing my wallet around. I could do everything with my phone. I could tap on the train with my phone. I could pay everywhere with my phone, even hawker centers. But over here, if you're eating like, let's say, a dinner or like restaurant, they usually prefer if you're paying by cash. But I can still pay at grocery shops with my phone and stuff, but not everywhere. So it's always useful, or actually recommended, to carry cash around. The third difference is that there's no air conditioning on public transports. Berlin has 4 seasons, so it makes sense for there to not be air conditioning on the trains, because that's not necessary in a lot of these different seasons. The fourth difference, and something really big, is that everything is closed on Sundays. This was such a big shock to me, because in Singapore, everything is open on Sunday. More things are open on Sunday because that's the day when people are not working and they can shop more, they can eat out more, they can buy more. But over here, grocery shops are closed, malls are closed, everything is closed. So that means that if you want to cook on Sunday, you need to remember to get your groceries on Saturday, because Sunday you cannot buy anything. But I guess one way is not better than the other. Like, both make sense in their own way. That has now forced me to spend my Sundays outdoors, like go out for a picnic, go out for a walk, do something that's not in a mall or that's not indoors. So it's almost good in a way. Number 5, you have to probably cook a lot more at home here than in Singapore. Although this is a personal preference, but back in Singapore, you could easily get a meal for $4, $5 at a hawker center that tastes very good. But over here, if you want to eat out, it costs at least 10 euros to begin with, which is around $16. So that's a lot for just a meal. And because of that, a lot of people end up cooking at home instead, myself included. I've been cooking a lot more here for 1 month than I probably ever did in Singapore. Now, the third question. Did I experience culture shock? I wouldn't call it culture shock. I would call it more of a culture surprise, which is a legit word. I googled it. The perspective I had when I came here was more of, oh wow, that's so cool rather than, oh, that's so different. So maybe because of that, I didn't get too overwhelmed with things. And in fact, a lot of the differences made me appreciate the city more. I also don't feel very homesick yet, because I'm constantly in contact with my family and just texting everyone and catching up with people. So that helps in me still maintaining connection with everyone, so I don't feel that homesick or that much of culture shock. But that being said, I do feel like I'm being made to step out of my comfort zone when I'm here. I'm forced to meet a lot of new people, and I have now realized how much I have not done this for at least the past 2 or 3 years because of this current situation that we are all in. I've not had the need to meet a lot of new people or to make new friends or to introduce myself to new people again and again and again and have a lot of those icebreakers. In the beginning, I did feel very uncomfortable, but now that I've done it for a month, I'm like getting used to it, and it's very exciting because I'm learning so much about so many cultures, so many countries, people from countries that I've never been to, and interacting with them, learning about their cultures, learning about their stories, how their country is different from Berlin. All that is really, really exciting. It was a bit scary in the beginning, but now that I've gotten used to it, it's very, very nice. And I'm really liking this out of my comfort zone feeling, because now I feel like I'm growing and I'm learning more as a person. I'm understanding more. I'm opening myself up more. Question number 4. Do I need to know German to survive in Berlin? In Berlin, I think no, but in Germany, like other cities, I've not experienced living there, so I can't say for sure. But what I've heard from the locals and other people that I've talked to around here, you probably need to learn German if you're in other cities in Germany. In fact, even in Berlin, if I'm interacting with my colleagues who all speak English, and if those are the only people that you're interacting with on a day-to-day basis, then you probably don't need to learn German. You can get away with it. But I have felt that in a month, if I want to interact with, let's say, like the person at the grocery shop or ask someone for directions, I definitely need to know a bit of German, because not everyone here that I've interacted with speaks English. Because of that, I'm definitely going to improve my German and like at least be able to hold a conversation. But it's difficult. Like, I've been trying to learn, and I think I'm going to enroll in a course in a few weeks when I'm more settled down in my new apartment. Okay, question number 5 is, how is the food here? So the food is actually quite different from what I expected. I don't know if it's because I'm in Berlin and not in other cities in Germany, or if it's similar to how other cities in Germany, like food there. So the food here has different aspects. Let's talk about like restaurants first. I was very, very surprised about the extensive Asian cuisine here. Like almost every third restaurant you see on the street is an Asian fusion restaurant. And my first week, I was super surprised because we went to this Thai place. I walked in and I saw on the menu pho. And I was like, why is there pho in a Thai restaurant? And then I saw sushi. And then now I realized 1 month later that Asian fusion is a big thing here. On the other hand, grocery shopping, like cooking yourself, shopping for groceries is amazing here because produce tastes so nice. I love the taste of carrots, cucumbers, apples, potatoes. Along with that, I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm always searching for dairy-free alternatives, and it was very hard for me to find dairy-free alternatives for like cheese or food packages. But over here, there are like 100 different options for you to choose from. And if you are vegan, it's a great city to be in because it's so easy to find alternatives here. Question number 6. How is it like finding a house here? It's difficult. Over here, just to find an apartment to rent is tiresome. The prices are very, very high. We've been searching for an apartment for like 3 months now, or at least 2 to 3 months, and we finally managed to find it, which is supposed to be low on the spectrum of time people usually take to find an apartment here. But we were very lucky to find something that we really, really wanted. And I'm very excited to move into our new place. I think we'll move there next week. But the whole process was very difficult. Go to Immo Scout, see if there are any new houses. Any new houses, apply to them. If they call you back, go and view the house. Then submit your proposal to rent the place and then not hear back from them for weeks. That's the process. Okay, last question is, do I like it here? Yeah, I actually really, really like it here. The city is beautiful to start off with. I find it very interesting to see so many different buildings that look nothing like each other, just lined up beside each other, and it just fits, or it doesn't fit. but no one cares because nothing needs to fit here. The restaurants here look beautiful. Like there's so many cafes with like outdoor seating. Along with that, the city is very, very green. It's probably one of the greener cities I've ever seen. Like what they consider a park here, I would consider a jungle. And there's so many jungles or parks everywhere. Even in this apartment that I'm in right now, if you walk 3 minutes away, you have a big luscious park slash jungle with tall trees, and you can just go there and hike or walk for hours. So at first I thought that once I come here I would definitely travel to other parts of Germany or like other cities, but I feel like it's gonna take me at least a few months to even get to know Berlin entirely because there's so much to do here. I really like it here so far. If you are here, hit me up. But if you are considering moving here and not sure if you should take this step, I think just go for it, because even if you don't like it, you would learn something about yourself. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.